Well, in the last little bit here, there's been a little bit of a dispute on this channel over numbers, over people getting laid off, over things with Baldur's Gate 3. But today, I gotta say, there's some numbers that have come out for Hogwarts Legacy that puts it right back up there in the conversation of the top-selling game of 2023. So, I don't know where this actually lies, but all the numbers point that Hogwarts Legacy is the best game, the best-selling game of 2023. It might not be the game of the year that everyone's putting up on a pedestal. It doesn't check all those check marks for a game of the year in that sense, but it did sell the most copies. At least that's what the claim is. Before we get into the video, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, do all those fun things that YouTube like. What do you think of this down below as well? Now, Hogwarts Legacy sold 22 million copies in 2023. Warner Brothers Discovery Games boss talks year's top-selling title and what's next. This is an exclusive that Variety put out with some quotes from the CEO, from the people that actually developed the game. My take on Hogwarts Legacy is it was a decent game. I said it was probably about a 7.5 out of 10. I didn't give it as a 10 out of 10 because I don't believe a 10 out of 10 is warranted here. I think there was a lot of things that were wrong with the game, namely the bugs, but I do think it does earn this title, that it should be at the top of the list for top-selling games. The next one on the list seems to be Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. In September, they said it was 19.5 million copies sold, which would be very close to these numbers. If not, maybe it went over on the Christmas break. I don't know. From Variety, Hogwarts Legacy crossed the 22 million copies sold by the end of 2023, with approximately 2 million of those units selling during December holiday season. Now, during the holiday season, right before Christmas and leading up to the end of the year, all of these games went on sale except for the Zelda game, which stayed at its price point because it's a physical game. It's more of a physical game from Nintendo, but Steam had them all on sale. You could download these, all of them across the board, and Hogwarts had a pretty deep cut. I think it was like $45 Canadian, which made it a very good pickup in that sense. But it's not just the units sold that I'm proud of, it is just that it delighted fans so much, and that's exactly it. It was whimsical. It actually enveloped the world. It actually brought us into the world of Hogwarts that we've seen on the big screen, and then put ourselves into the world in a very wizard-like storytelling from the artists of J.K. Rowling. Now, a lot of people panned the game. A lot of articles said that this is going to be another horror fest because of J.K. Rowling's world outlook of views on men and women. It didn't put any different take on how well the game was. It actually, if anything, it propagated and sold more copies because people were angry over a very minor detail in our human lives, over something that someone else said that doesn't have any control over what we can do with ourselves. Entertainment president David Haddad, am I getting that right? It's Haddad. That's the way I'm going to read it from now on. Whose team also launched the hit title Mortal Kombat 1 last year. Mortal Kombat 1 has its own issues. It didn't translate to the Switch very well. The outfits and the censoring of like old school models into the new Mortal Kombat didn't make it feel like it was old school Mortal Kombat. They kind of gave it a new spin. Then they get on top of that, I believe Mortal Kombat 1 won like best multiplayer game of the year. It's not really a multiplayer game, it's a fighting game. I don't see fighting games as a multiplayer game. Yes, you can play it with more than one person. To me, doesn't scream a multiplayer game. Like when I think multiplayer game, I think of like World of Warcraft. I think these massive online role-playing games or massively online MMOs. They're more of what I see with that, or even like the space battles or something more like that. To me, it wasn't it doesn't fit the definition of a multiplayer game. Brought Harry Potter to life in a whole new way for gamers, where they could see themselves in the world in this story. And that's what the team at Avalanche set out to do when they're developing the game. And I think that really why it resonated so well and remains the best-selling game of the year in the entire industry worldwide. Those are very telling points here. This is someone standing up that's a representative from their company saying, we have the number one selling game, we have the numbers, we have the data, here is all of it. Apparently it was one of the worst games out there this season. I don't see it. I thought it was a very good game. I thought it did very well. I have my issues with the game, but I can overlook those issues quite easily because of how fun the game is, how different it was, how everything was a puzzle within a puzzle within a puzzle, how things played out. It really reminded me of Batman Arkham Asylum with the Game of the Year style titling of that thing, where you have all the Riddler puzzles throughout the whole thing that are scattered throughout the entire game. Then you can go through the steps and solve them. How it had all of these different achievements that you can unlock, how it had all of these very, very crazy things that are out there. You go through the steps and actually solve them. Hidden spots, secrets, all of these things. And that is what it reminded me of a game. And that's why I say the game is very well done. I say it's up there in that level. And if you look in previous titles like Batman, the Batman Arkham Asylum series, it's very much almost the similar style of game, where you unlock one ability and then it turns into another one. And then you get these combos. It's the same sort of idea. And I think that would probably be the closest games out there on the market right now to what Hogwarts really became. And then you envelop yourself in the world. You take in the entire world around you, and the world becomes the game, right? With Batman Arkham Asylum, the Joker and everything else with that game, you really focus and envision the game. The difference with Batman, though, it became more of a stealthy game, but then you had all the combos, and all those combos were the same sort of unique style where you're hitting the buttons in a sequence. And I think that's what made it very different. It's not hand-to-hand combat, it's more magical wand casting and stuff like that. So it's a very different style of game, but when you break it down to the basic level, that's probably where it is, and why a lot of people would say it's probably one of the better games that came out in 2023, and why it sold so many copies. And just to make this clear, I'm just using Batman as an idea. I'm not saying it is a Batman game. There is no way in hell is Hogwarts a Batman game. Just the combat kind of had that same sort of vibe to it. The Riddler puzzles, same sort of vibe to it. The corridors you go down, every time you looked around in the halls of Hogwarts, if you truly look in the game, you look at things and you go, that's from the books, or that's from the movies. I know that spot. And then you look at other things and you try and kind of sit there and you go, what is going on here? Why is there certain things here? What does this mean? Is there more? There's so much more detail hidden in Hogwarts. I think ultimately, no one's really scratched the surface of this game, and if you dig deep enough into this game, you're going to find more secrets that have been hidden in there that haven't been revealed. I know recently there was a hidden sort of house that has been discovered that you kind of have to go off the beaten path to try and get to, and it kind of looks like the glass house that they used in the later movies where Snape died. It kind of looks like that. So there's certain things in this game that I think haven't been discovered yet either, and it's going to be a very interesting secret-filled game, and the lore behind it is going to put together a different style of story and uniqueness to it. But when it comes down to the Batman games, the Batman game for its time was revolutionary in that sense, and that's why they gave it Game of the Year at that time. Now, you kind of got to do a little bit more, and I think Hogwarts did do a little bit more in that sense with the creatures, with the observatories, with the star charts, with everything that you could do in the game. You could pursue certain classes. You can do so many more things in the game. And it was more of that XP RPG style aspect to it and not a stealth mission game. So no matter what I say here, I'm just using the Batman, mostly the combat fighting style, and the hidden puzzles were kind of more in that sense, how every corner had something hidden in it. Then there's the in-game data for this. They're saying over 707 million hours have been played, and 819 million potions brewed, 1.3 billion magical plants harvested, 593 million magical beasts rescued, and 4.9 billion dark wizards defeated within the halls of Virtual Wizarding School. These are big numbers, and those numbers are absolutely amazing to see. Ultimately, I think Hogwarts deserves the title of best-selling game of the year. I think they did a stellar job with the game. I think they did a stellar job with the marketing aspect of it, and I believe the game can produce something that is for everyone. Every single person out there can enjoy this game the way it is. You can't say that for a lot of other games out there on the market right now. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix, Cindershadow. I'm signing off here. Have yourselves a great day.